long before the announcement of the latest movie in the Dragon Ball franchise. Over 10 years ago from the time of making this video, a devoted fan by the name of Michsi saw the appeal to the base idea. What if we glanced away from the universe-ending, time-bending stakes we've become accustomed to, and instead zeroed in on the idea of being a simple, humble superhero in the world of Dragon Ball? While I don't normally cover work before first obtaining the author's permission, the unfortunate truth is Michsi has only posted twice in the last 9 years, and all attempts to contact them have gone unanswered. So if you're out there, Michsi, we implore you to return to the Dragon Ball community, and maybe we as the Mondo crew can do a little detective work to thank you properly. And also, a quick thanks to my personal hero Malik for working around the clock to get the thumbnail done for this video. Satan City, the rich, high-tech home of Earth's legendary savior, and today's center of the modern world. And like every respectable, fictional metropolis, this one too has its very own superhero, the Great Saiyaman. No, really, not the titular figure of the city, but our familiar vanquisher of all that is evil. Role model to all children, and likely not instilled by himself, a profitable tourist attraction as well. Nearby, a hostage situation takes place. The gunman threatens that if anyone comes any closer, he'll blow her brains out. Do they hear him? The cops stand together, not at all in proper formation, almost as if they have an invisible shield in front of them. One of them asks, "Where is he? He's never been this late before. At this rate, we'll have to take care of this ourselves." The next glances back to the crowd behind him, scoffing they might get booed off stage if they do so. The people want to see a superhero in action, not them. The third humorously shouts for the offender to hold his horses and they'll deal with him in a minute. Just as the middle officer predicted, a man who oddly resembles Barry Kahn, the actor who would years later play the Great Saiyaman in Super, well after this manga was made, calls out they want the Great Saiyaman. Where's the Great Saiyaman? Mirroring the casual demeanor of the police, the would-be victim flips a victory sign to her friends, as they talk about how jealous they are, wishing they had been taken hostage instead. The other clamoring in excitement that she's going to be rescued by the Great Saiyaman, causing the detainee to giggle that she guesses it's just her lucky day. Unfortunately for her, the cops finally decide that their superhero's taking too long. It's going to be up to the three of them. His subordinate double checks to make sure he's positive about that decision. The crowd will be pretty disappointed. Just as the most mustachioed of the three questions, "Hey, isn't that him over there?" Looking his way. Sure enough, it is him! Their coveted superhero has arrived. But something confuses the officers. No dancing? No poses? Why is he simply stomping over to the suspect? The senior law enforcer scratches his head. This is quite strange. He's usually so exuberant with his entrances. Heck, he didn't even notice him arrive. The other speculates that maybe he's just in a hurry today. As he approaches the pair, we're met with completely contrasting emotions. The victim blushes with fantasies that this is just like in the movies. As the perp begins to panic, he tells himself to stay calm. He can't do anything as long as he has a hostage. That's how these hero types work. The superhero towers over the villain. He didn't think he'd be so big. He looks a lot shorter on TV. He hollers that he better stay back, or he will. What the? Knocking out the gunman and delivering the girl to the officers, the Great Saiyaman resolves the situation in mere seconds after arriving. If we look closer, it seems like he may have played the situation a tad too fast and loose, given the spirals around the girl's eyes. Dumbfounded, even knowing full well what their hero's capable of, the senior policeman thanks him, but isn't given anything in response. The trio can do little more than watch him soar through the sky. Maybe he's having a bad day. He didn't even do the dance.
A bad day? They have no idea. No! Absolutely not! Never! Not a chance! No!
Earlier, it's revealed it was actually Piccolo playing the Great Saiyaman, though doesn't seem happy about it. Gohan pleads, "Oh, come on, just for one day, please?" But Piccolo doesn't care if it's only for a tenth of a second. He said no. The Saiyan explains he promised his mom he would concentrate on his tests. He can't leave the city unprotected for so long. Though if that is the case, then he can go ask his father to do it. But Gohan retorts that would be a mistake and he knows it. So Piccolo recommends send Shinhan then. Eventually working his way through pretty much all the Z fighters. But Gohan has an excuse for all of them and why it has to be Piccolo. He doesn't know where Tien is and doesn't have the time to go looking for him. And Yamcha would just use the fame to try to get a date. The Namek would even scream he has Krillin, Yajirobe, Puar, anybody but him.
I knew I was going to say yes eventually. I always say yes to him, and the little runt knows it.
The scene as he was about to accept doing the most embarrassing, degrading, painful thing of his entire existence. He figured he might as well try to put up a fight.
Why are you doing this to me? Haven't I done enough for you? Remember that one time I died?
Though eventually, he'd give in. Gohan thanks Piccolo and assures him he owes him one. The Namekian feels otherwise. He doesn't owe him one. The kid owes him a lifetime. Looking down at the wristwatch that'll transform him from the mighty Demon King to the valiant Sentai savior of Satan City. He resolves to his fate. For reasons he could only suspect had to do with the feeling of utmost disgust and disdain towards that horrible outfit. Piccolo's powers were unable to produce clothes that matched the Great Saiyaman's costume. He had to resign himself to the fact that one more person would have to know of his misfortune.
Psst. I need your help.
Peeking his eyes just over the windowsill, a surprised Bulma would eventually let the Namekian inside after he explained the situation. She thinks it's so sweet of him to help out Gohan like this. She's always admired the special bond the two of them have. Frantically looking around to make sure nobody else knows why he's here. He says that may be, but he might end up cutting all ties with him after this. He questions where Vegeta is. He'd rather not have him finding out about this. The scientist jests. Vegeta? What's a Vegeta? Oh, he means that elusive creature that lives in the gravity room. It only comes out every once in a while to feed. It's been so long since she'd last seen it, she was starting to think it was just a myth. She tells Piccolo to wait here. This'll take a moment. And a bit later, Bulma explains how she adjusted the helmet so it doesn't show the lower side of his face. She's pretty sure people would notice the, well, green. He thanks her and turns to leave. As the scientist tells him not to worry, he'll do great. This should be easy for someone as strong as him, right? Which isn't the problem in Piccolo's mind. But anyway, he should leave before. Caught dead in the headlights, Vegeta doesn't need to see his face to sense Piccolo's key signature. He bellows out with laughter to the annoyance of the others. The Namekian removes his helmet, resolved to his own defeat. The prince chides if there's even a shred of pride left within Piccolo. What's next? If Gohan would have asked him to. Actually, he doesn't think there's anything worse than this that he could have requested. And he agreed to it. Over his antics, Piccolo asks if he's done. He'd like to leave. But Vegeta, given his personality at this point in the series, has to go for the jugular. He boasts they just face it. He himself is the only real badass left in the group. Piccolo is nothing more than a glorified pet now. Turning away, he continues his chuckling as he quips there's nothing like a good laugh to work up an appetite, asking Bulma what's for lunch. And saying nothing, she sports a devious smile.
So yeah, today is shaping up to be pretty much the worst day of my life. And the fact that it's barely even midday kind of worries me. But I figured as long as I could find a hole which to crawl into to spend the rest of my days after this is all over, I could make it to at least sunset. Ready? At least I'm not alone in this. That hole better be big enough for two.
Away, Mr. Satan shouts out for Boo to hurry. She's going to be on TV any second now, as he looks for a cassette to tape it. Inside, we see he's referring to a segment on the news. The reporter reads live from Central Boulevard, where the Great Saiyaman has just stopped an armed bank robbery, although a little more violent than usual. Boo argues they only show Videl for a few seconds. It's always Gohan who they focus on. But the proud father doesn't care. That's his little girl. Jumping up, he shouts that from the time she first tied her shoelaces to her first day of school, he has immortalized it all, revealing, quite literally, a locked library for Daddy's little girl. That's when he hears the reporter announce it would seem that Say a Woman is also on the scene today, causing the world champ to swing his head around back to the TV, clamoring,
There she is! My beautiful, precious...
Unbelievable! Ladies and gentlemen, this is...
Sweet little flower?
Please! Oh God, please don't hurt me, please!
We're taken to the scene where the less than heroic duo do their best to fill in the roles of Gohan and Videl. While a poor man pleads for his life, Piccolo informs Vegeta, or rather, Saiyaman number 2, that he's pretty sure that's one of the hostages, prompting the prince to holler.
Then those better be tears of gratitude! Hear that? I saved your life, so say thank you!
Thank you!
Still, I can't help but get the feeling we're doing this wrong.
Vegeta darts over to his partner in justice, shouting, of course we're doing this wrong. That's the whole point. He tells Piccolo to think about it. Does he really think this will be the one and only time Gohan asks this of him? If they show him now how bad he is at it, he'll think twice before coming to him next time. Showing off that big brain energy, Piccolo sees what he means and thinks on it for a second. The prince cockily smirks. There's no need to thank him. He just doesn't want to get dragged into his mess again. The Saiyan actually takes this a bit further. He tells Piccolo to be honest. Doesn't he want to get back at him for this? At least just a little? The Namek begins to speak, almost against his question, when Vegeta tells him to just imagine his face when he sees this, leaving Piccolo in silence. Vegeta snarls, it would serve the little brat right, wouldn't it? But Piccolo can only imagine the disappointed, sad expression of the little boy who first befriended him, the human who gave himself faith in humanity. So naturally, Piccolo can't bring himself to let Gohan down, even if it means doing something like this. Taking his body language into account, Vegeta snips. On a scale of 1 to 10, how whipped are you? Leaving Piccolo to sigh in resignation once more.
Videl!
What's in the...
My little baby!
The world champ pleads. He knows she said she wanted to get stronger, but this is ridiculous. Just look at what she's done to her body. It's grotesque. Look at that neck, those shoulders, and her breasts. They're all but gone. No man will want her now. Pointing back at the great Saiyaman, he screams this is all his fault. He filled her head with all that training crap. He's responsible for this, so we better not dare leave her now. Running back over to who he thinks is his daughter, he tells his princess not to worry. She still has the lithe and petite thing going for her. Guys dig that. No matter how bad it gets, her daddy will always love his whittle. When something begins to become clear to Mr. Satan. This is not his daughter. Pleading for Boo to go faster. He doesn't think that was Videl after all. Piccolo takes this as the perfect time to answer Vegeta's question with a question of his own.
From a scale of 1 to 10, how permanently damaged are you?
With our superheroes set out on saving the citizens of Satan City, even for just a day, will they be able to put their pride aside for just a few hours to ensure the innocent are protected? Or will Piccolo give in to Vegeta's plan of doing such a terrible job they will never have to play hero again?